you know, for people who haven't been on a lot of cruises or maybe never been on a cruise, it might seem weird that I'm fanboying over live plants, but there's just something about having live plants. Take a drink every time I say it. It is Sunday, October 24th, 2021, and on this week's edition of Sunday Sofa Time, we're talking about 10 things I did not hate on the Celebrity Apex. Okay, I'm doing it. I'm jumping on the boat. I could have titled this video 10 things I loved about the Celebrity Apex, but at the moment, the YouTube algorithm is rewarding travel and cruise related content with some kind of negative word in the title, like canceled or denied or hate. So I decided to switch it around and say these are 10 things I did not hate about the Celebrity Apex. Let's see if it works. It's been just a little over a month since we finished our cruise, and it was our first cruise with Celebrity. It will not be our last cruise with this cruise line, and I would gladly cruise on the Apex again. And as I go through this list of 10 things today, I think, if you are on the fence about whether or not you want to try Celebrity or not, I think many of these things are a good reason to go for it, starting with the coffee. We stayed in a slightly upgraded cabin category on the ship called Aqua Class, and included in Aqua Class was a very small, the smallest drink package. And part of this drink package allowed us to go to the custom coffee bar every day and order coffee. And usually, I think on any other ship I've been on, some of the ships, especially I think Royal Caribbean nowadays, even have a full-on Starbucks. They also had that on AIDA as well, I believe. But anyways, usually if there is a custom coffee bar where you can get a decaf iced mocha, which is what I always like, you always have to pay extra for that. And I think a lot of the times, even if you do have a drink package, the custom coffees are not included in that. But on the Apex, it was included. And not only the coffees, but also the treats in the counter, the muffins, the cheesecake, don't get me started. It was one thing that we took advantage of every day, and I know that on other ships, we would have had to pay extra for it. Moving on, and I don't know if I said it already, but these things are in no particular order, but the next thing is the whole pool atmosphere. I want to specifically talk about the indoor pool, and one thing that I loved about the indoor pool is it was quiet. They weren't playing techno music in there all hours of the day. If you wanted to just relax and read a book or take a nap or maybe listen to your own music, you could definitely do that in the indoor pool. Little bit of ASMR for you there. I guess, I don't know, now that I'm at the age I'm at, having quiet time is also important for me. And one thing I've realized on a lot of the other cruises I've done within the past year is how difficult it is to find some place on the ship, on the top deck, that is not loud and energetic. When I'm in the mood for loud and energetic, that's cool, but sometimes you just want quiet. And the indoor pool on the Apex was quiet, and I kind of think that that's, if there are two pools, I think that's how it should be. One should be the party pool and one should be the chill out pool. And a little addition to one thing I loved about the pool area on the Apex was the towels are included and everywhere. On a lot of other ships, when you want to get a towel at the pool, you have to go to a certain booth that's way over in the one corner or the other corner. You have to show your key card or your sail pass or whatever, and you have to check out the towels, and you're forced to pay a price if you don't bring them back. But on the Apex, they were just sitting there all over the place, and you could take one when you wanted to, and when you wanted a new one, you just went and got a new one. Of course, this might lead people to sort of abuse the system, because I don't think that you really need to get a fresh towel every time you get out of the pool. You can reuse a towel, but I just really appreciated the fact that they were there when we needed them, and we didn't have to check them out and make sure we remembered to bring them back to where we got them. Moving on to another design aspect of this beautiful ship, and this is something also on the top deck, like the pool deck, and that is the Rooftop Garden. This was a multifunction area towards the aft of the ship, so towards the back, almost at the very back. And it is just a beautiful area with sort of metally sculptures and live plants, lots of places to sit. They used it as sort of a nightclub area for one night. They showed the outdoor movies there, and the back half of it is also a fantastic restaurant. By the way, we ate in the rooftop grill for dinner and we didn't realize it was an upcharge restaurant. We ended up paying a lot more than we would have if we had known that we were going to have to pay for it. But it was fantastic, not complaining. I have very rarely seen an area like this on a cruise ship with just seats where you can hang out at, and there are live plants around you. The only other ship I can think of is the Harmony of the Seas in the Central Park area, but that's like inside the ship, so you don't have any view of the ocean. And here on the Apex, it's on the top deck, so you have all of that and a fantastic view of the ocean. Speaking of live plants on a cruise ship, the next area we're going to talk about is in the inside of the ship, also at the back, and it's called Eden. Eden is very similar to the back half of like the Anthem, the Quantum of the Seas from Royal Caribbean and Celebrity. They all belong to the same company, so I guess, you know, it shouldn't be surprising that there are these similarities. However, the way that Eden uses this space is so much better than the way it was on the Anthem and the Quantum. Not only are there also live plants in here, which, you know, for people who haven't been on a lot of cruises or maybe never been on a cruise, it might seem weird that I'm fanboying over live plants, but there's just something about having live plants, take a drink every time I say it, that somehow heightens the atmosphere, especially the chill out atmosphere. And during the day, you could go to Eden and there are all these different seating areas and just a really cool place to hang out. And then at night, they also had shows there, and the entertainment concept on board was fantastic anyways. We're gonna get to that in a second, but it just was a really, really cool place to hang out, and unlike anything I've ever seen specifically on any other cruise ship. The drink prices in there, kind of expensive. Better order a drink someplace else and bring it in. Just a little tip for you. Right now, let's talk about the rest of the live entertainment. The shows on board the Apex were some of the best shows that I have seen on any cruise ship, and not only that, some of the best of that kind of entertainment that I've seen anywhere ever. The main theater venue on the ship is amazing. It's sort of like a 3/4 of in the round, or a thrust proscenium for people who know about theater, and a huge part of the back wall is a extremely high definition screen, which just adds to the depth of the sets. It adds to the mood. It makes it so versatile. And the first show that we saw on board, called Tree of Life, was like a fantastic modern dance concert with live vocals, basically. If you're a fan of So You Think You Can Dance, with the sort of dramatic, modern, lyrical choreography, you're gonna love shows like Tree of Life on board the Celebrity Apex. Now, compared to other cruise lines that have name brand Broadway shows like Mamma Mia and Grease and Priscilla Queen of the Desert, Celebrity Apex did not have any of those, but that does not mean that the shows were not also fantastic. Okay, we're about halfway through the list, and I've got a couple more coming up, and in the end, I'm gonna tell you about something that I actually did kind of hate. Hate is such a strong word, I don't mean that. Just some things that were not so optimal, but we're gonna get to all of that after this short commercial break. Did you get one? What was it about?
Write it in the comments below.
Okay, I need to let the blood get out of my forehead again. Next 2 points on my list both have to do with food, and one of them is the fantastic food that we were served in the Blue restaurant. As I mentioned before, we had a slight cabin upgrade. We were staying in the Aqua class, which gave us access to a couple things that the people staying in like normal cabins don't get, and one of those is the restaurant called Blue, which is only for Aqua class and guests of the suites. The food in Blue was fantastic. I don't think there was anything that was disappointing to me, and the veggie burger that they offered was so good. I think I had it 4 times. Without a doubt, the best veggie burger I've had on any ship. I know, most of you don't eat vegetarian, but just saying how it is. Marcus had a lot of meaty and fishy stuff, and if you've been watching the daily vlogs, I posted pictures of everything that he had too, so I'm thinking of you, carnivores. The menu changed every night, and also they made it clear that if there was something specific that we really wanted and gave them enough time, they would be able to do their best to create it for us. And I think one time I did ask for something that was available in one of the other dining rooms, and they brought it to me. Couldn't tell you what it was now though. You all know Marcus and I prefer to eat in the buffet where we just sort of take care of ourselves. We don't have to do the small talk, and we can kind of, you know, make it last as long or as short as we would like it to last. We prefer not to go to sit-down restaurants on the ships, but I don't think there's been any other cruise that we've done, except for maybe our very first cruise, where we ate in the Blue, which is for us the main dining room, as often as we did. And I think that is a big sign of the quality that we were offered there. All right, next point on the list is another food thing, and that is the room service. If you are subscribed to the channel and have those notifications on, you will see in the next few weeks, I did a whole room service video again where we went through the menu, looked at everything offered, we ordered it, the food came, and then I sat down and chomped it all and answered questions that you had posted for me on Facebook and Instagram. So that's coming up soon, and it was fantastic and included in the price of the cruise, so not a bad thing whatsoever. Also, with the infinite veranda set up, there was plenty of space in the cabin to eat it, but you know, I always kind of set it up differently than you would for the cameras. If you're a fan of having breakfast or dinner or lunch or whatever in your cabin, you are not gonna be disappointed on the Celebrity Apex. Altogether, this ship just seemed really fancy, and I know I use the word fancy a lot, and it's kind of hard to define what that is, and in a way, it's also subjective, I know that. So many things about this ship just looked to be very high quality and not gaudy, not flashy, just beautiful and fancy. I don't know how else to say it. And one thing that adds to that sort of heightened atmosphere on board is that in the bathrooms, they have real towels to dry your hands on. This is something that I've only ever experienced at really high-class hotels and resorts. You know, usually you have the air dryers or the paper towels, and on the Apex, in all the bathrooms that I visited, like in the public areas, they had like washcloths wrapped up that you take and you can dry your hands on real cloth, and then they're washed and used again. And I just think not only does that show that it's, you know, high class, but it's also probably a little bit better for the environment than all that paper that just gets thrown away or perhaps recycled, or the air dryers which blow the germs all over the place. I don't know, is having real towels in the bathrooms to dry your hands on, is that something that's fancy or not? What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. And the next thing I want to talk about is the magic carpet. Now, this has nothing to do with actual carpet on the floor. The magic carpet is a movable platform that hangs over the starboard side of the ship, and it goes from the top to the bottom and is used for many things. And to be completely honest, most of the time, I could not have cared less if it was there or not. However, when we docked in Santorini, which is the most recent daily vlog on the channel, it gets lowered all the way down to water level and becomes just the fanciest way to get on and off of the tender boats to get over to land. Usually on cruise ships, when you are tendered, you have to sort of jump out of a hole in the side of the ship. That sounds dramatic, but that's basically what you're doing. You go through an area of the ship that during the day is only open to passengers, and there's a special door that they open, and then that is how you get out of the ship onto these smaller boats that take you to land. And just the whole way that it was set up on the Apex is so fantastic. And when you come back, that's where the welcoming committee is waiting with the cool towels and cold drinks for refreshment. These ice cold towels feel so good right now. It was fantastic and a real highlight of cruising on this class of ship from Celebrity. And yeah, I mean, like I said, most of the time the magic carpet, I couldn't be bothered. It didn't seem that special to me, but just for the tender experience alone made it amazing. All right, we're gonna get to the final point on my list here before I tell you just, like a quick little thing that I was not such a fan of. But the final thing on the things that I did not hate list was the fantastic service we were provided on board. I know, in my first daily vlog, I talked about how we were quite annoyed with the service personnel in blue on our first night because it seemed like everybody came over to us and asked us the same questions. There were probably 5 people in charge of our table, from the the person seating us, to our head waiter, to the assistant waiter, to the sommelier, to the person bringing drinks. And each one of those people came to us and asked us, where are you from? Have you ever cruised with Celebrity before? What are your plans? All those things. And it became too much. After you've told the 4th person the answers to these questions,
we just wanted to eat.
That's not a huge critique point. They're just, trying to be friendly, doing their job, and all together, the staff in blue and everywhere on the ship that we encountered, they were amazing. And I'll give you an example. As I've also been mentioning in my daily vlogs, I discovered this, this crazy new drink, which I've heard from a lot of you is not so crazy. There are some places in the US where it's just a normal drink you can offer, and what it is iced tea and vodka. They have this really tasty Arizona green tea on board. I've never had it before. It's not something that I'd ever drink, in real life, but on the ship they had it and I tried it and I thought it was fantastic. And then I got the idea to add vodka to it, and I started doing that at the pool bar one day. And then on that evening, or maybe the next evening, the server who served us up in the pool bar was also down in the casino, and she came over to us, and I didn't recognize her. I didn't recognize her as the person who had served us up at the pool. But we ordered, I ordered something else, and when she brought it, she was like,
"Don't you like the iced tea and the vodka?"
And I thought,
yeah. How did you know that?
And she said,
"Yeah, I brought you one up at the pool. And are you going to be here in the casino a lot? Because if you are, then I'll just have that iced tea sent down here as well. And then you can have your iced tea and vodka down here."
And I was like,
okay.
And she said, "You know what? I'm going to run up to the pool right now and get some of the iced tea. So if you want one of those tonight, you just let me know." Not only did she remember my order just from remembering my face, but she also was willing to run up to the pool to get a special ingredient for a drink that I created that they didn't have down in the middle of the ship. So that is the kind of service that I think is top notch, of the highest class. And we also cruised with the MSC Yacht Club within the last year, which is also supposed to be a really heightened service experience. And I would have to say the service that we got on the Yacht Club was a little bit more, trying to think of a good way to explain it. It's not that we didn't get good service, but it was a little bit extra over the top to make it seem like we will do anything for you. And on the Apex, it was basically the same level of service, but in a much more comfortable, chill way to provide it. Without a doubt, the Celebrity Apex cruise was the best service that I have received on any of the cruises that I have experienced, and it's over 20 now. All right, I promised you before that I was gonna tell you one little thing that I really didn't enjoy about the cruise, and you can look forward to more of these details coming up because it has to do with our infinite veranda cabin. This is a new concept, a new design concept with a lot of really interesting innovations that Celebrity created for the Celebrity Edge and the Apex, and not everything about it is fantastic, and nothing about it that I hated. And I say that in the cabin tour, which will also be coming soon. There's nothing about it that would make me not want to book the ship again. But for instance, if you want to have the balcony like window open so you get fresh air, or you feel like you're outside on the balcony, then it either sucks all the air conditioning out of the cabin, or there are doors that you can close, but the doors are not see-through. So there cannot be somebody like chilling on the balcony and somebody else in the cabin unless either the cabin is also warm or you close it off to the outside and can't see outside. Not a big deal, and not the only one of these things. There are a couple other sort of just interesting things that make you go, why did they do that? But if you want to see those, you're gonna have to keep in touch, because that video will be coming up in the next couple of weeks. Do you have a cruise on the Apex coming up soon? She's in Florida now, so I think a lot of you viewers out there, it might be a possibility for you, and I can only recommend that you do it if you're on the fence, but you might want to wait a couple weeks until you see the cabin tour to decide if you are interested in staying in an infinite veranda cabin or one of the standard balcony cabins that they also offer on board. All that being said, now comes the time on Sunday Sofa Time where I comment on your comments live on air. In last week's Sunday Sofa Time, I talked about the brand new Genie Plus and Lightning Lane paid virtual queue system introduced at Walt Disney World just a couple days ago, and a lot of people shared my views for this system. The first comment that I want to talk about is from Douglas Famey. Douglas writes, "First, I have always stayed on site, but since the pandemic, they have removed virtually all of the benefits of staying at a Disney resort. I made the decision to no longer stay on site. One of the biggest complaints was how crowded the parks were, and they have successfully solved that issue because they have priced the parks out of my price range to make it enjoyable. I hope Universal enjoys all the dollars I would have spent at Disney. I now feel I am free to complain about the Disney greed as much as I want because I'm willing to not blindly follow their avariciousness." I learned a new word. "I thank them for all the years of joy that they have provided, but enough is enough." And I would say probably 99% of all the videos that I've seen about this and all the comments on my video are like this. It feels like they just keep taking things away and adding costs for things that we used to be provided for free. And a lot of these decisions from a business standpoint are correct, but for us as consumers and longtime visitors, it feels like they're kicking us in the balls. Another question that I had asked you in the video and has been cleared up since then by people like Zim1978 and Yennefer Garth here is that you can use the Lightning Lane without having to book the Genie Plus. So for those of you who haven't been paying attention to what this system is, most of the attractions in the park, you can get a skip each line one-time pass for $15 a day, which compared to all the other parks in Florida is less expensive. And then for the two best, most popular attractions in each park, they have a separate line that you can pay like a one-time price to skip, and it varies from $7 to $15, and you can do the one without the other. Final comment is from Jane Kirby, and she really wraps it up here. "Diabolical Disney, taking money grubbing to a new low and making the rich and poor lines part of the Disney experience is just horrible and against families who save to take their kids there." That's the thing, at all other parks, at Universal, at Six Flags, at Cedar Point, at Valley Fair, wherever, these kind of lines have always been for the people who can pay more, and it's never been like that at Disney, which is one thing that has preserved a really nice, wholesome, everybody is at the same level and can have the same amount of fun atmosphere at Disney. Now that's slowly disappearing, and like Jane says, it's gonna be like, oh, this is the quick line for the rich people, and then this is the slow line for the poor people. And
ain't no poor people going to Disney because it's already quite a high ticket price.
But I know exactly what you mean, Jane, and I agree. Thanks for spending this part of your Sunday or whatever day it is that you're watching this with me. If you also want to let me know what day you watch this in the comments, if you're watching it on Sunday or if you watch this on some other day, I would be interested in hearing that as well. Make sure you stay in touch because there's a lot more coming from the Celebrity Apex, including the cabin tour, the room service video, a couple more daily vlogs, including Dubrovnik, where they filmed Game of Thrones, which I've never seen, and some other fun, interesting surprises.
She is an hour and 20 minutes late.
See you soon.